Hello, it's me. Welcome to this channel, where we believe that understanding the past is essential for navigating the present and future. And that starts with understanding the Founding Fathers and the revolutionary generation who forged our nation. In this video, we're going to explore how relationships mattered in the American Revolution, according to Joseph J. Ellis's Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Founding Brothers, The Revolutionary Generation. History often appears to us as a sequence of inevitable events, shaped by impersonal forces and grand ideas. Yet, in Founding Brothers, The Revolutionary Generation, Joseph J. Ellis invites us to reconsider the birth of the United States through a more intimate lens by examining the complex web of personal relationships, rivalries, and alliances among its key architects. The book's central theme is clear. The American Revolution and the formation of the early republic were not merely the products of revolutionary ideology, but the results of dynamic, sometimes tense, and always deeply human interactions among a small group of remarkable individuals. So, in this video, we'll look at how these interpersonal relationships, friendships, enmities, and collaborations shaped the political landscape of revolutionary and post-revolutionary America. We'll examine the key figures at the heart of Ellis's narrative, the pivotal episodes that defined their interactions, and the ways in which their personal dynamics underpinned both the achievements and the ongoing challenges of American democracy. Ready? Let's dive into it. The first thing we have to do is introduce you to the Founding Brothers. At the core of Founding Brothers are six central figures: George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, and James Madison. These men were not only political leaders, but also friends, mentors, rivals, and adversaries. Their relationships often transcended or complicated their official roles, with personal trust, affection, jealousy, and ambition driving both collaboration and conflict. Next, we need to talk about the politics of personal collaboration. The American Revolution, as Ellis argues, was sustained by a network of relationships among its leaders. The founders' familiarity with each other, built through years of correspondence, committee work, and shared danger, created a framework for both cooperation and negotiation. Their mutual respect, however strained, allowed for pragmatic solutions in moments of crisis. Personal bonds could be mobilized as political capital. The Adams-Jefferson friendship, for example, enabled compromise during the drafting of the Declaration of Independence and the diplomatic negotiations in Europe. Washington's relationships with both Hamilton and Jefferson brought ideological rivals into the same cabinet, forcing dialogue and, occasionally, consensus. But above all, the urgency of the revolutionary struggle and the ever-present threat of failure made collaboration not just desirable, but necessary. The founders recognized that unity, however uneasy, was the only path to survival against the British Empire and later to maintaining the fragile experiment of republican government. Now, let's look at the rivalry, conflict, and creative tension within the founding generation. Despite the necessity for collaboration, the founders' relationships were marked by intense rivalries and personal animosities. These tensions were not merely disruptive. They often fueled the creative debates that defined the new nation's character. Ideological divisions between Federalists and Democratic Republicans created deep fissures, but also spurred each side to clarify and defend their positions. Personal dislike and political disagreement often overlapped, as in the case of Hamilton and Jefferson. The most dramatic example of personal rivalry shaping history is the fatal duel between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. While Burr is not a central figure in Ellis's book, the conflict between him and Hamilton encapsulates the era's blend of personal animosity and political consequence. Perhaps nowhere is the complexity of relationships more evident than in the long and complicated relationship between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. From their early friendship, through their roles in the Revolution, and their later political rivalry and ultimate reconciliation, their evolving relationship serves as a microcosm of the nation they helped to create. Let's now look at some pivotal episodes where interpersonal dynamics determined the course of history. The famous 1790 dinner hosted by Jefferson, where Madison and Hamilton reached a compromise on the federal assumption of state debts and the location of the national capital, is a classic example of personal negotiation shaping national policy. Over a private meal, Three men with sharply divergent views found common ground, demonstrating the power of informal relationships in formal politics. The debate over slavery in the early republic was marked by a tacit agreement: the silence among the founders to avoid the issue directly. This mutual avoidance reflected both the personal discomfort and the political calculation of the era. The founders' relationships enabled them to postpone conflict, but at the cost of leaving a fundamental contradiction unresolved. A significant event in the founding era was Washington's farewell address, largely drafted by Hamilton with input from others, which outlined principles for the young nation and warned against political parties and foreign entanglements. It reflects the collective wisdom and the shared anxieties of the founding generation. As we move towards the end of our discussion, there are two things I want us to consider. First, the legacy of personal politics. The founding generation's achievements offered a model for future generations of American leaders, setting a precedent for bipartisan cooperation and dialogue across ideological divides. However, as the founders aged and the nation grew, the informal networks that had sustained the early republic began to fray. The rise of political parties and the increasing complexity of national politics made personal relationships less viable as the primary means of governance. Nevertheless, the example of the founding generation continued to inspire calls for civility and compromise in American politics, even amid deep divisions. Second, we need to discuss the enduring value of dialogue. In an age of political polarization, the Founding Brothers offer a compelling case for the importance of civil discourse and the ability to find common ground despite ideological differences. Their willingness to engage with those who held opposing viewpoints not only shaped the course of American history, but also left a legacy of intellectual and political engagement that continues to resonate today. In conclusion, in Founding Brothers, Joseph J. Ellis reminds us that the story of the American Revolution is not just about grand ideas and sweeping changes, but also about the people who made it happen. The relationships among the founding generation, marked by both cooperation and conflict, were essential to the birth of the nation. As we navigate the complexities of our own political landscape, the legacy of the Founding Brothers offers both a model and a challenge, urging us to embrace collaboration, to confront our rivalries head-on, and to remember that progress, however difficult, is always worth striving for. What are your thoughts on the Founding Brothers and their relationships? Which of the Founding Brothers do you admire the most, and why? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content. We have lots of videos available on the American Revolution and the Founding Fathers, such as the series America, the Story of a Nation. You can watch the trailer here. Thanks for joining us.